enough, but I think that I deserve to smile. Put windows out your car, but it don't comfort to my broken heart. You could never feel how I felt that day. Until that happened, baby, you don't know that. No, you should know it. I'm sorry, you deserve it. After what you did to me, you deserve it. I am sorry. No, no, no. You caused me pain. Even though what you did to me was much worse, I had to do something to make it hurt, yeah. Oh, but why am I still crying? Why am I the one who's still crying? Oh, you really hurt me, baby. You really hurt me, baby. Hey, 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 hey. Now watch me, you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's make sure this thing is right. I want to make sure that we good, we straight, we right. Let me see here. Can y'all hear me? First of all, let's get that out the way real quick. Can y'all hear me? Let's get that out the way real quick. Okay, I'm getting some thumbs up. People saying they can hear me. So I want to make sure that everybody can hear me. Let me see here. Let's see here. Can you hear me? Mic check, mic check. Okay, good. You can hear me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mario J. This is Tough Love. And tonight we're going to be talking about part 2 of Black Men Stand Down. Earlier I did a vlog on some of the things I've been seeing in the media lately in regards to Jonathan Price. There was an outcry or a pour of discontentment with some of his comments on social media in regards to black women, in regards to the lack of support for Black Lives Matter, advocating for police. So a lot of people were, kind of in an uproar and kind of decided to say, we're going to sit this one out. I felt like the timing was off a little bit, but I understood, the concept behind why people felt like, they felt how they felt. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get some guests. I sent some people a copy of the link, so hopefully they can join. We're going to see if we can get some people to join real quick. So let's work that out real quick, and let's get this conversation started. So hopefully those guys can hit the link. Is the link working for you guys? Because it's 2 people I want. We have 2 people, Ricky Manor and also Delicate Jeweler. If I can get them to join this live, it would be awesome, so that way we can talk about the situation real quick. So let's see if we can get them in here. Let's see. Ricky said it wasn't working for me. Okay. Do me a favor and refresh and try it again. Refresh and try it again. Let's see what I can do here. Let's see something real quick.
She's saying, I want to be protected.
Let me know when you try it again. Let's see if it's going to work this time. Let me know when you try. Let me see if I put it here, what happens here. I actually hit the link. I actually put the link inside the chat. Let's see if that'll work. See if that'll work for you guys. I tell you, man, this shit is difficult. This shit is difficult. Is it working for you guys? I'm telling you, man. I be hating this, man. Ricky says, I think I'm in. I don't see you yet, brother. Says won't let me join. I think this is they don't want this conversation to go down, y'all. They don't want this conversation to go down. I think that's what's happening right now. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Are you hitting the link from the actual what I put in the chat room? Can you do Google Hangouts? I'm actually using a software program. It's not Live Studio. It's not Google Hangouts. but it should be working with the link that I sent you. Let me try this real quick here. Let me try to do this real quick for you guys. See if you can call in real quick. Let's see if we can start like that, and maybe we can figure this out as we go. Let me see. What I'm trying to do for you guys, I'm actually trying to give you guys some perspective in regards to not just my personal perspective, but other people's perspective who's been, you know what I'm saying, very vocal on how they feel about this particular situation, the Jonathan Price situation, the black community, black men, black women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what I want to do is I want to give people an opportunity to kind of voice their perspective, because I don't want to just continue to give you my own perspective, even though this is my channel. I'm gonna say what I want to say. No, I'm playing. If one of you guys can hit the call in real quick, we could probably pull you up real quick or whatever case may be until we can figure out there's other technical difficulties. So the phone should ring or at least vibrate, and I can know that you're on the line, and I'll bring you guys in if one at a time or however we need to do this. Hello?
What's good? What's good?
What's good, man? What's good? What's good? I'm glad something's working, brother. I'm glad something's working. I really wanted to get you up on the screen real quick, but let me ask you guys a question that's in the chat room. Can you guys hear him as he's talking right now?
I think it's a little bit of delay.
It's a little bit of delay? Okay. Well, hopefully you guys can hear him. Let me see if I can do this real quick. Move my mic a little bit since I'm trying.
Sunshine says she can hear me.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. So what I wanted to do, like I was saying before, it was a lot of outcry, a lot of, I'm saying, oh, hell no, we ain't having that in regards to, what Jonathan Price said. A lot of people were saying, hey, I think that the whole him dating white girls was not a big thing. I think the bigger thing was the fact that he wasn't a big advocate for Black Lives Matter. He believed in the police, so the things that I guess the average black man would be saying, he was not saying, and it went against the grain. It rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So I wanted to, first of all, brother, give us your perspective on the situation, and also let people know where they can find you at on social media.
Yes, Ricky Manor. I started doing this for fun in the morning before I started my workout. But I'm on YouTube, and then you can find me on my Twitter page as well at Manor Ricky, at Manor Ricky on Twitter. The thing that really got to me when I heard all these people talking about, all of the women talking of this, it was disturbing, but it didn't come at no surprise. It's kind of like one of those lessons you learn when you're younger, where other people tell you what's going on, but you don't believe it till you see it for yourself.
Right.
We live under a matriarchy in our community, where every other prosperous race in America lives under a patriarchy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's no place for us, it seems, under this feminist agenda that's been pushed into our communities that keeps our families divided and keeps us pitted against each other, black man, black woman. So one thing, when I heard Cynthia G talking that feminist garbage, the first thing that I could think of was, yep, she's trying to get her check again. She's trying to get them coins.
So,
but she's no better than Candace Owens, in my opinion.
Candace Owens, the infamous Candace Owens. Why do you think that you feel that Cynthia G is no better than Candace Owens?
Well, she trolls. Well, Candace Owens trolls. It does race baiting trolling from the right side. Cynthia G does it from the extreme left. So you got two far extremities there, and both of them are against black men.
So, because I went to a page, because a lot of times when people, I do my little lives or whatever, and people kind of DM me and they send me stuff or whatever, and rightfully so, or ironically enough, you know, I was getting a lot of stuff from Cynthia G, and it was like, you know, how do you feel about Cynthia G? And I said, you know, she's an attractive young lady, or you know, and I was like, you know, okay, she seems intelligent. Let me listen to what she has to say. And I just noticed that there was a certain consistency of pointing out, I guess, the wrongdoings of black men. And I was waiting for, you know, you give me a couple videos about black men and how they're not doing what they're supposed to do and how they're not in the homes and, you know, the regular propaganda. Now I'm waiting for the balance. I'm waiting for the positive stuff, but I never got the positive. So I had to address that, being who I am, you know, being Tough Love, being Mario J. I felt like I had to address that. And I think I had to address it more, especially when I heard the stand by and stand down or stand back hashtag push from her page, because I felt like she was giving dialogue too fast about a situation she didn't have enough information about. I think she jumped the gun, got some statements off of social media posts, and all of a sudden that identified his character, and that to me was prematurely and irresponsibly done. So I wanted to ask you, you know, how do you feel about Cynthia G? Like, I mean, honestly, just speaking, do you think that she is a positive asset to be able to speak on black men, or do you think that she's detrimental to, you know, the black community? What do you think?
I think she's very detrimental to the black community. She's just as toxic as Candace Owens. When you look at the way that she portrays black men, I mean, you got to think other people are watching that channel as well. You know, people that are not of our race are watching that channel, and if they look at her as a representative of Black America, then they're going to get the same impression from her as they would Candace Owens. Let's pretend like racism is a car, right? Two different salesmen can sell you the same car. Two different salesmen are going to give you the same aspect. You know, the two different salesmen are going to give you their take on the car, what's advantageous to them. So it's kind of like she done the same thing with George Floyd after George Floyd passed. She used the fact that George Floyd was dating a white woman and she don't back up any man and she's not going to get out there and protest or whatnot. But for her to try to speak on the black community, she's not even out in the black community. So how can she speak on the black community if all she's doing is just sitting up in front of a webcam, you know? Right. A lot of us out here that speak on behalf of the black community, you know, I myself included, we get out there and we work with these different programs and these outreach programs trying to better our people. You know, it's more than just sitting behind the camera and getting people all cheered up like she does. Candace Owens, the same thing. How can she speak on Black America or even the Black experience when she's not in a part of Black America? Black America don't even like her. You see what I'm saying? At least one thing Cynthia G's got going for her is that she got a black audience that listens to her bullshit, but, you know, that's as far as it goes. So do you feel like with Candace Owens, you know, do you think that, well, what do you think the purpose of Candace Owens? Why do you think she speaks out like she speaks out? To be honest, to get them coins. I mean, she's the type of person that she knows. I mean, because here's the thing, and I went over this on one of my videos called Coons Are Race Refugees, and I was talking about how all you got to do is, like, you know, spit the talking points of these far-right people, and they'll like you. They'll take a liking to you. And I think that what she had done was figure that out early in the game, because you got to think, Candace Owens was a nobody before she made that video condemning Colin Kaepernick for kneeling for the flag. And then these people got a hold of her video. She went viral, and you know, she's the black puppet. She's the one that gives them the pass. I mean, come think about it. When I did that video, you seen that video. How much hatred came into my chat room that day? That gave white people a pass to talk trash to another black man. Right. If I was sitting there talking trash about Dr. King, or if I was talking trash about any other black leader that they hold reverence to, they wouldn't be giving a damn about what I have to say. Yeah, they'd be cheering me on. But with her, she's a race baiting grifter.
I do think so. Here's my thing with Candace Owens, and here's my thing with Cynthia G. I think collectively, both of these women are articulate. They obviously do have some common sense, and I think that they found their niche. And when I say found their niche, they found what extreme they can talk about to get an uproar and to get some type of monetary value and support. So I'm going to either talk about how bad black men are, that's one extreme, or I'm going to talk about the black community and how bad it is. That's another extreme. My whole thing about it is, at what point do we provide balance? At what point do we talk about the positive things that go on in the black community, the positive things that go on with black men? I think that when you have these extremists, people that always concern themselves with talking about the negative and never provide balance or provide the other side of the spectrum. I think that is dangerous, because I definitely think that, you know what I'm saying, if I was a Caucasian person or someone that was from, you know what I'm saying, white America, I definitely would look at them and say, you know, they're doing a great job at what they're doing. Because if I wanted to find out how bad black men were, I would just listen to Cynthia G. If I wanted to find out how messed up and how the black community is, how bad it is, I would just listen to Candace Owens. So they're not going to give you the positive side. So if I was in white America, why would I want my children to marry your children if it's always bad? Why would I want my children to marry your men or be around your men or hire them and, you know, hire them for jobs or positions if all of them are bad? So I would think that when you're sending that type of rhetoric, you would also be responsible and say, hey, you know, even though I'm talking about some, I think it just comes across as all because that's all you talk about.
Right. And see, here's the thing that I had to come to terms with. Me being a black conservative, they make black conservatism look bad. When I say they, I'm talking about ABL. I'm talking about Candace Owens. I'm talking about that Officer Tatum bullshitter. You know, just like
Brandon Tatum.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I was at the Black Sick meeting when they came to my hometown, and it was 3 black people there, me being one of them. So out of those 3 black people, the news interviewed one of them. They didn't fuck with me. You know, they already knew who to interview. And while I was inside, and even the news media was like, yeah, they say they're here for the bring black people over to the Republican Party, but there's nothing but a bunch of white faces in there. And I was lucky enough to get a seat like 3 rows back. And I felt like when Brandon Tatum was on stage trying to talk about God, you would have thought that man was a preacher. I wanted to play that video back where he threatened to kick Hotep Jesus' ass.
What?
Yeah, I wanted to do it so bad. I was just like, I'm outnumbered in here, but
Can I ask you a question? I think a lot of the viewers, you know what I'm saying, would love to know. I mention conservatives a lot doing my videos. Like I mentioned the Candace Owens, I mentioned the Brandon Tatums, I mentioned the Hodge twins. I mentioned a lot of these outspoken African American conservatives. Can you ask me, one, why you're a conservative, and 2, what do you think the narrative that's being placed on black conservatives? Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Like, tell me your position, your viewpoints.
Well, see, the thing is, with black conservatism, you know, what the narrative is nowadays is that to be a black conservative, you got to be favored by white people. You got to be favored, you know, and that's what they push out there. You know, you got to be you got to go out there cooning to be a black conservative, and that's not the case. I'm in South Carolina. There's a lot of black conservatives here, and we don't care for white acceptance. If, you know, white acceptance, at the end of the day, the reason that we are conservative is that we are against white supremacy. White supremacy comes from the far left with those policies that they implemented into our neighborhoods and into our communities and into our families that pretty much keep us destroyed. Like, I mean, you look at the abortion rate. I mean, between 1972 and the year 2012, we've aborted enough babies in our community that we could have outnumbered our white counterparts easily. You know what I'm saying? Or even our numbers could have been the same as theirs. But, you know, they were trying to destroy us, and everything they do, you know, on the left side is destructive to the black community. Dr. King had seen this before they killed him. Malcolm X had seen this way a long time ago. You know, because I'm a conservative, that doesn't mean I'm going to get up with a MAGA hat on and start bashing on my own people. Like, you know, King face me burning hell. You know, that's what he thought. You know, rocking that MAGA hat gave him the ability to do was to go around and bash on black people. That's not, you know, what black conservatives conservatism is all about. Conservatism is a state of mind. You know, the policies in place that are on the conservative side and the conservative values, they're all about family togetherness. They're all about patriarchy, not matriarchy. You know, they're take charge people. So when we talk about black conservatism, I think a lot of the stuff is coon servitude that you see nowadays. The Hodge coons is what I call them. Officer Coon Tatum, Coon Dance Owens, you know, Coon Face, you know, may he burn in hell.
You out of control. You out of control.
Say what?
Yeah, I said you out of control.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know what though? I mean, here's the thing. You know this as a content creator as well. You got to protect your energy when you're out there because your face is being beamed all around the world. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you got somebody if you're putting all that negative energy on yourself, like King Face was or Coon Face was doing, then naturally that's what's going to happen. And I think Candace Owens and her, you know, she's not happy. She got all this money, she got the fame. I don't think that's a happy woman. And you can look at her face because, you know, working in sales and as a claims adjuster now, I can look at people's faces and tell exactly what's going on. They smile, they tell me one thing, but the eyes tell me a whole different story.
Yeah.
Candace Owens is not a happy person. She's very bitter. She's very, and I think that what she done it for, I think she went buck dancing for those butter biscuits and noticed that she's getting a lot of hatred, and I don't think that's working right with her energy.
You know what? I really, really want everyone in the chat room, everyone that's looking or either live or on the replay. I want to, because I'm going to bring Delicate Jewel. If she's still around, I'm definitely going to bring her up next. I really want to say this. I said this earlier. I said, when you are facilitating a certain narrative that is stressful, that is demeaning, that is degrading, that deals with hardship, that has to be stressful. That's why I said for Cynthia G, for Candace Owens, it's just like, you now become this almost like a statue or some type of a monument for negativity. Like when you think about Cynthia G and you listen to her content, it's just like you can listen to it but so long. Like when you listen to Candace Owens, you can listen to it but so long. Yes, I would think that if your people have a problem with you, you know what I'm saying? I would think that if people with black skin listen to you say how we should not mourn George Floyd, or we should not support the Jacob Blakes, or we should not worry about Jonathan Blake because, you know, he liked white women, or because he was or he had a criminal record, or because he may resist an arrest. It's just like, of course, when you get all of those people saying that shit to you, those black people with black skin saying it in a black fashion, it has to be stressful. It has to be like, damn, these people really don't like me. No matter how much monetary value I have, no matter what child I have coming in the world, what marriage I have, where I live at, it's just like these people really can't stand me and they look like me. That has to be stressful. That has to be stressful.
Not only that, but did you see when Candace Owens was in Atlanta and T.I. shut her down on stage? She looked like she was hurt the rest of the damn show. And she took that home with her and she brought it back to the Rubin Report.
So,
you know,
here's the issue with T.I. Here's the issue with T.I. First of all, I think that Candace Owens is used to arguing with facts and statistics. She's used to allowing to be able to run off on her rant and add her aggressiveness. She can't handle a black crowd. You know what I'm saying? T.I. he blacktified her, if I could say. He swagged her out. You understand? When he said "Make America Great Again," he was like, for who? Of course she doesn't have anything to say. You know what I'm saying? And of course that crowd outnumbered. It was a different thought process. So when she says I'll talk to anyone, she's not going to put herself in a position to be outnumbered like that too many times. Like she's going to stay where she can be impactful. She's going to stay where she can, as you say, coon it out and get people to applaud her effort, because most white people who hear her talk, the first thing they say is she speaks so articulate, as if black women don't speak articulate. She's so pretty, but they never say anything about what she's saying is actually uplifting the black community. I don't mind people talking about the black community, but if you don't provide solutions for the black community, that's my problem.
Right, and she's nothing but a web troll, and it's kind of like with, when I on several times I tried to get her to debate me, because everybody's like, I bet you won't debate her, and I reached out to try to debate her, and she won't return my messages, and the crazy part about this is, like, if you had to put me in that crowd, if I said, let's make America great again, the first thing black people ask me is, when was America great? And I could tell you when America was great for us. America was great before 1968 when those damn liberal policies were implemented in our neighborhoods. Yeah, we were hated by white America, but we looked out for each other. We had a village concept. We educated our own. When you graduated high school, and before 1968, you graduated with a trade. You was a brick mason, you was a mechanic, you was a roofer, you built frames for houses. You done something, but it was enough to graduate with that diploma where you could actually provide for your family. Now, if you wanted to go further in education and be a school teacher or a doctor or a nurse, the college was always an open option for you, and you operated within your own community. The thing is, in America, that I'm getting at here, and a lot of white conservatives get turned off when they hear my true stance on my vision of conservatism. I think that we should, as a people, it doesn't matter if we intermingle. See, the thing is, a lot of times, black people get the message twisted. They just want to be accepted by white America. I want more than just acceptance, because acceptance is not what's going to put food on the table. I want our community to be whole again. I want our community. I wanted to go back in the day. See, I'm in my 40s. I remember a day and time that if you and I were neighbors and you caught my kids fucking up, then you could whoop my kids. And then when I got home, you tell me you whooped my kids. And then when they tell me why you whooped them, then they go in the house and get another whooping. It's not like, the hell you doing touching my kids? No, we became distant from each other. You know what I'm saying? And when the man left the household, the man who can bring logic and reason to the table, what you got now is a bunch of effeminate and emasculated boys out there pretending to be men.
Yeah,
you got brute strength with the mind of a fucking emotional female.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I agree with you. I think my whole thing about this is, man, I really feel sorry that, some people don't experience good people. Like they don't experience good men. They don't experience good women, like in good relationships, good conversation, good energy, good atmosphere. Like their whole experience has been toxic. It's derailed their motivation to want to get to know the other gender. Like I hear so much, not just complaining, but it's so many stories of how people just don't get along. Like some very bad shit has happened, and for some reason people just like they draw the line in the sand. That's why it's so easy for the Candace Owens and the Cynthia G's and these other people to keep people in their pain, to keep people feeling like they need to continue to victimize themselves. And that's why I try to tell people, you have to listen to people that's going to provide balance. When you talk about the Republicans and Democratic Party, you have to listen to people that's going to provide balance. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people would say, if you talk to a conservative, they're all coons. Obviously, you're sitting on here and you have a different perspective than we've heard from Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum, and you are a conservative. So this is why I love conversations like this, because someone's going to say, I've never heard a conservative say that they did not validate what Candace Owens was saying or validate what Brandon Tatum said. They had a different point of view and perspective. So I really appreciate, you outlining what you outlined. Let me ask you this before, because I don't want to hold you too long. I definitely want to hit Delicate Jewel, but I want you to tell everybody again where they can find you at. And do me a favor in the chat room, just if you want to, you can copy and paste your page in there so people can subscribe to you.
Okay, cool. Let me do that real quick. I was outside. Let's see here. I wish your mic was. Your camera was working too.
Man, I don't know what's going on. This is actually my first time trying to bring someone on this stream using this streaming service, but we definitely gonna have to do this again. I'm going to, but do me a favor. Hey, take 2 minutes and just run down what you feel like when you say black men stand down. I really didn't tackle too much of that, but how do you feel about black men saying stand down? Like they take the concept from what Cynthia G has stated with the hashtag, and black men decide to do that. What do you feel like it? Do you think that's a necessary thing? That's crazy. It's retarded. It's stupid. Like, how do you feel as a black conservative?
I feel that a lot of times we end up, what's the word I'm looking for? We like to copy stuff of other cultures. We need to become original. You know, even with the rap music game back in the 90s, everybody wanted to be Gambino or Carleone. And I'm like, wait a minute, we have our own gangsters. You know, we have our own cowboys. We have our own, anything in great in American history, we have it. You see what I'm saying? I mean, if you look at anything great that they glorified, I mean, shit, look at the Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger in reality was a black man. You know, so when you start looking at when they're talking about stand down, that's just another clone of white culture. And I think that when they were talking about stand back and stand down, and they said they tried to tie that to Trump being a racist, I'm like, wait a minute here. Trump has said many times, and I got a link on one of my videos where Trump, you know, continued to denounce white supremacy, continued to denounce skinheads, continued to denounce a lot of stuff. So I don't think that Trump is racist, because there was that one lady that was up there, Omarosa, said that she got him on tape saying the N-word. Okay, so here it is close to election. I'm still waiting on those tapes. They can't be found. They tried to say that he was a racist because he wouldn't rent apartments to black people, but you got to think at that time in New York, we're talking about the 1980s, where just a decade before, you know, there were blacks tearing up their own communities. Of course, people wouldn't be, you know, comfortable living around us as a whole.
I got you. Listen, brother, I'm gonna let you go, man. Feel free to stick around if you want to. I'm definitely gonna be in touch with you.
Oh, I will.
All right.
All right. Thanks for having me on, man.
All right, no problem, man. No problem. So as I wait for Delicate Jew to call in, man, hey, big shout out to Ricky. Very smart, intelligent brother with a lot of energy. Go check out his channel. He's in the actual chat room right now. Feel free to go check him out. Subscribe to his channel. Support what he has to say. A black conservative. Tough love. We having a tough conversation over here. And I think it's important for everybody to understand how important it is, because when we talk about, you know, every conservative, everybody that's on that other side, you know, when we talk about those things, let me see. Hello? Hold on just 1 second. As y'all see, I got to adjust some things around here, over here between Normandy and Weston. I literally got it on the phone, y'all. I just need to adjust the volume on this thing. Let's see. Let me see if that works. Can you hear me? Yeah, you still low. Hold on. Let's try this one more time. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
There you go. There you go. Hey, welcome.
Can you hear me?
Welcome. I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Okay, so on the line right now, we have Miss Delicate Jew. Please make sure that you guys go to her channel. She's in the chat room right now. We got her online, and we're going to have this conversation because Delicate Jew been pissing me off, y'all. She's been pissing me off. Nah. She's been real supportive. I just recently started this channel, and she's definitely we kind of linked up somewhere in the waves, and she's definitely been there. You know, damn near almost every time I went live or catch the replay, been liking and just really supporting me. So I really want to send some love her way. So anybody that subscribes to me or that catches this, please go over to Delicate Jew and please check out my man Ricky. and subscribe to their channel. Now, let's get into this real quick. Before I do that, Ms. Delica Jewel, tell them a little bit about yourself, what your channel's all about, so that way people can know, have a little warm and fuzzy about you.
Okay, wonderful. So everybody, I'm Delicate Jewel, also known as Crystal Renee. I'm a musician. I sing, I rap, love music. You can follow me on IG at I'm_Crystal Renee. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Delicate Jewel. I talk about battle rap. I'm a huge battle rap supporter. I talk about everyday life topics. You name it, I discuss it. I do reviews. Just whatever I feel like doing, I talk about on my channel. So I don't have a particular niche on my channel, but any and everything, whatever comes up, comes out. So go over, check me out if you like. I don't bite. I'm gentle. You know, so yeah, just check me out. Y'all getting my nighttime voice right now.
No doubt. They getting your nighttime Waffle House voice.
They sure is, but it's all right.
Hey, but so I wanted to. So we, of course, you've been listening, and you've been kind of checking out some of the things I've been talking about in regards to Jonathan Price, Cynthia G, or whatever case to be. And again, shout out to Cynthia G. It's all love over here. We've been talking about, black men versus black women and all of this big Jonathan Price thing. What's your outlook on this? What do you think about this?
Well, first, I feel like it's a travesty for an innocent, unarmed black man to be murdered in cold blood.
Mm-hmm.
I think that anyone with a heart, anyone that's not sadistic or psychopath, is disturbed by Jonathan Price being murdered in cold blood.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's so many other things that go along with that, right? So Jonathan Price, apparently, from what we gather, from what we've seen from his social media, and I know you pointed out that we don't even know if what was posted on his social media is real. But just for the sake of argument, we're going to assume that it is correct now. There's so many different things that's going on within Jonathan's murder. It's unfortunate that he was murdered. He was murdered in cold blood. Let's just get that out the gate. Rest in peace to him. My condolences to his family. However, Jonathan did make a point to be public with how he feels about the black community, basically embellishing on racial profiling and letting the world know that protesting and rioting is not something that he supports. He really doesn't support that. He supports cops. He supports blue lives. He has a preference for white women, which is totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can prefer whatever you want. But in his life, he made a point to let us know that he hasn't experienced what many black people have experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, let's not riot, let's not protest. So if he said that when he was alive, who are we to not honor his wishes? Much obliged, number one, to that, because when you were alive, you said this, not us. You said it, not us. We just gonna follow what you said, my brother, okay? So that's number one. Number two, this man in so many ways, with his preference for white women, which is fine, love who you love. Just love who you love. As long as they love you, you love them back, right? But my issue with Jonathan Price and a lot of black men, and I think a lot of black women have this same issue too when it comes to black men dating outside of their race. Date who you want. But when you date who you want, if they're not black, even if they are black, do not compare black women to the woman that's your non-black woman. Do not uplift your non-black woman over black women. Don't degrade us. Don't drag us to hell. Don't speak on all these so-called stereotypes, because half of it is not true. Now, love who you love, but keep our names out your mouth, okay? Now, so with the whole preference thing in mind, let's follow that, right? I think that black women at this point, black women now are fighting for the right to have a preference just like black men. Black men have been saying for years, oh, it's just a preference. If we want to date outside our race, or if we want to date racially ambiguous looking women, or maybe even lighter toned women, which is fine, totally fine, your preference is cool. It's just a preference. Black women, especially dark skinned black women, should not be offended, and they are absolutely right. We should not. And normally we aren't offended. It's just when y'all put our names in it and compare us and try and drag us to hell that we have a problem, right? So with you guys having preferences in mind, we want preferences too. If you have a preference for non-black women, we support that. We accept it. We also want to exercise our right to have a preference to advocate for who we want to advocate for. So if we don't prefer to advocate for a black man that's with a non-black woman, that's our preference. You guys need to accept that. Just like we have accepted your preference for non-black women or whatever. We accept it, we respect it, and we good. We good. Now you guys gotta respect our preference to not advocate for you if we don't want to.
I believe that, first of all, I appreciate you sharing your perspective. I think there's a lot of people in the chat room that respect it as well. And I like to thank you for providing that perspective in a way that, is simplified and it's articulate to the point where, all right, cool, kudos. I wanna add my tidbit. I feel like I understand that it is very difficult to say that you stand beside someone who you don't feel that would stand beside you. It's difficult to protect or to speak up for someone who you do not feel that will render you the same courtesy or respect. I get it. My issue was that I've never heard black men, and I kind of stated this earlier, I've never heard black men say publicly that they're going to stand down, they're going to stand out of this fight or out of the support for a black woman, despite who she dated, despite what her social media said. I've never heard that before. So I was a little bit taken back, which is the reason why I said, well, let's just talk about black men standing down. When has black men announced this? And I think you were saying that they don't announce it publicly, but this is something that, they do on code in private. And I feel like it makes a strong statement. It says that, how were you in your real life? Because if we're using social media posts and we're saying, this is your character, this is who you are, I think a lot of people would not get support from a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? I think that if let's just say your platform promotes all ratchet behavior, and then you have people that's conservative, or you have people that's a little bit uppity or stay in a certain type of neighborhood, they're going to say, you know what, I don't support you smoking weed on lives. I don't support you playing spades and cursing and twerking or whatever case may be. So we don't find that behavior acceptable, and we're not going to support you. We're going to stand back and stand down. I think that when we send that statement out of who we're not going to support, why we're not going to support them, I think this is something that's going to catch on. I don't think it's going to stop right there. I think it's going to go further. And I think that a lot of people are going to be shocked and disappointed and disrespected, because these people that we're talking about are, especially if it goes to a point where it's a fatality. If it's a fatality and these people cannot defend themselves, Jonathan Price can't defend himself. So that's why I felt like, well, why would you stand back and stand down on this particular situation when he doesn't have anyone saying, well, I supported black people. I'm going to take this post, or someone's going to take this post, and we're going to advocate. I had people saying everything from the fact that, well, he didn't support Breonna Taylor, so we're not going to support him. And I was like, how do you know he didn't support Breonna Taylor? Like, what did he say he didn't support it? Did his family say that? And I just felt like it was more to the story than simply saying stand down and stand back.
Okay, so that is a great thing to point out. Now, let me answer that for you. Okay, we're going to have a good time tonight, y'all. So, the black man, and I need you guys to follow me now, okay? The black man has never come out verbatim or even said anything close to stand down and stand by. They never have said that publicly, and they don't have to, right? And I'm not even talking about action. The black man's stand down and stand by, follow me now, was when they publicly came out and they promoted this whole preference thing. Black men got behind this. This is our preference. this is our preference. We have preferences. Y'all need to not be offended. That was the black man stand down and stand by. It wasn't. They didn't have to come out and say, F y'all. They didn't have to say stand down and stand by. The black man was very methodical and strategic in how they presented their stand down and stand by. No, they didn't come. They weren't blunt with it. You know, it was a micro flip type of what do you call it? What's the word? Reverse psychology almost, right? Preference, y'all. It's preference. This is our preference. You guys just need to accept it. That doesn't mean that we hate you or that we don't find you black women beautiful. Our stand down and stand by is us promoting this preference, and we want you guys to accept it, right? So in the beginning stages of this, if we go back a few years, right? Now, if we're just being honest, there have been more black men that have dated outside of their race. It's been like an ongoing thing for many, many years, you know. And even like people like the Nick Cannons and a few other black celebrities have come out and stated, they've been honest and transparent in saying that a lot of black men see like white women as a trophy. You see white women as success. I've made it now. So the reason why they date black women when they're, you know, on the come up and they're trying to get to where they're trying to get, and once they get to those accolades and they reach that goal, that success, they go and get a white woman typically, right? We've been seeing that for decades, right? And initially, decades ago, on up to maybe a few years ago, the black women have fought against that. The black woman has come out and said, you know what, we find it to be messed up. We've held you down. We've birthed you. We've raised you. We've bent over backwards for you. We out here in the streets going to bat for you whenever you need, for you guys to turn around and get with a non-black woman. And I mean, it's fine if that's what you like, but let's not act like most of that is not rooted in self-hate. Let's not play those games. So initially, black women would fight against it. But now, let's go back maybe about 3 to 5 years ago. Black women began to change their strategy. I think black women have seen, you know what, us caping for black men, us, you know, coming out and fighting against them, pointing the finger, telling them you wrong for that. It's not working. And it's not working because, number one, the black man does have a right to have a preference. Everybody does. Black man, black woman, white, it doesn't matter. You have the right to have a preference, and people should respect that, right? So when black women saw that pointing the finger wasn't working, let's change our strategy. You know what? They created the rules. The black men were the ones who came out decades ago and said, it's preference. We need you guys to accept this. Let us have a preference. So black women now, fast forward to about 5 years ago on up to now, black women say, you know what? Okay, you're right. We're not gonna fight with you no more. You do have a preference, and we're gonna accept it. We're gonna respect it. Do your thing, but keep our name out your mouth. You keep our name out your mouth, and we good, right? So with your preference now, guess what? Because you made the rules, you pushed this preference thing. Guess what? We got preferences too, big baby. So you can prefer whoever you prefer. We respect it and we accept it. But we're gonna prefer who we prefer as well. Now you can't pick and No.
Go ahead. I want you to finish your statement.
You can't. The black man, oftentimes, I think that the black man, when they started this preference thing, they didn't realize how much it was going to hurt. People don't understand how painful it is when you have your hand in the lion's mouth. You think everything is good, but once the clapper comes down, you realize that, oh snap, I might have bit off more than I could chew, right? So it's okay to have a preference. They've accepted our preference, but now they're utilizing and they're exercising their right to have a preference as well. And their preference, in turn, is actually kind of messing with us, right? Because we don't like black men have always, black women have always defended black men, regardless. Even though a lot of black men, not all, but many black men have dragged black women, especially darker tone black women, you know, call us unattractive, you know, say, you know, the lighter, the better, et cetera, et cetera. But black women have always, as one united front, typically come out and still defended black men, still supported black men, right? But now, I think that black women are getting a lot more smarter, and they're saying, you know what? let's play chess too. Okay, cool. You got your preference. We're gonna have mine. I'm gonna have mine, and we gonna see who gonna be the most hurt at the end.
I tell you what. You make some valid points. I have some questions, and I got a little pushback because that's what we do over here.
Okay.
So check it. One, I feel that the timing is a little off. I feel like if you're gonna push back against someone, let them be able to speak for themselves. So I feel like this is a part of a bullying tactic. So that's what I don't appreciate it, which I felt that's the reason why I think a lot of men and women felt like the timing's off. And if you're going to say we're not going to support you, well, say it to my face. Don't wait till I'm in the ground. I'm not even buried yet. But if you're going to say you're not going to support me, cool, that's your preference. But don't wait till I die and then be like, okay, we're going to now do this tactic or do this preference. That's one thing. Two, I feel that, it's a lot of outrage. And let's not say outrage. I don't want it to make it sound like it's a bunch of angry black women. I want to say it's a concern. It's a concern that this black man used a lot of different antics or rhetoric or whatever you want to ordain it to be that did not agree with black women or the black community, et cetera, et cetera. I want to take that same energy and I want to ask you a serious question while we have viewers online.
Okay.
Why is that energy not being put towards all of this ratchet television to remove it off of TV since it's depicting black community, black women, black men in a bad light? Where's the hashtag to say stand down, stand back, stand by?
Okay, these are great questions. So the first one, when you said you spoke on the timing, you feel as though the timing was bad.
Yes.
My response to that is, when you hit someone, you cannot get mad if they hit you back harder. Mm-hmm. You don't have control over that. So you better be careful who you hit and when you hit them. Because if you think about it, nobody, and I'm not saying that the black man and the black woman are enemies, even though it seems like that's what a lot of society is pushing. It seems that way, but in my heart of hearts, I know that the black man and the black woman, we're not enemies, right? But there's a lot of propaganda out there that's pushing that, right? But with this Jonathan Price fella, when he was alive, right, if Jonathan Price would have made, just say, some type of social media post and it went viral where the masses could see it, guess what? Black women would have stood up and dragged him, and rightfully so. It just so happened that for whatever reason, while he was alive, none of his posts went viral. I'm sure, he may have had maybe 100 or maybe even a couple of hundred of people to actually see some of the things that he posted. But it never got the traction that you or I would expect for the masses to respond in the manner that you would like, right? So had any of his posts went viral when he was alive, guess what? Black women would have definitely stepped to him, and they would have definitely spoken on it. It wouldn't have been we wait until you're dead. It's just unfortunate that once he died is when a lot of his posts got the traction, right? But if they had went viral when he was alive, it would have been a different story. So yeah, I feel like, him hitting black women and the black community is by saying that he's never been racially profiled. Blue Lives Matter, let's not protest. That's him initiating the hit. Us hitting back, which it seems to be a lot harder, a lot stronger than his initial hit, is much obliged.
I'm about to start some shit. Y'all ready? I'm about to start some shit right now. First of all, check this out. If this man had a preference and everybody's saying that his preference did not matter, who cares, right? My thing about it is, while he was alive, this is not even recent. These are not even recent posts. So this man had at some point in time had a particular preference that, in the community that I was raised up in, I I did not go through a shit ton of racism. I was suffering from police brutality. I was not subjected to it. So I feel a certain type of way. I grew up around Sally, Becky, and Pam, and I like Sally, Becky, and Pam. And for my thought process is this man died being a hero.
Okay.
Based on his community, he died being a hero, which is crazy as shit that people would say, you know what, this man made some statements, but here's the thing, the statements are done. They're long, they're done. If you cannot adjust a behavior, then why even speak on it? I would have respected the movement a whole lot more had people said, you know what, we're going to sit this one out, but we're not going to do it at the expense of his death. We're just going to sit this one out. We're going to not support anybody that doesn't support us, period, and left it alone. But then when we went down into the nitty gritty, see, here's the thing. The charge was let Karen and Becky protest for him. And this what happened. Karen and Becky, Tom and Mike, Jill and Pam, and Carlos and everybody else that was in his town, they did advocate for him, and they got justice for him faster than we got justice for Breonna Taylor. What does that say about people saying, okay, we're going to stand down and stand by? What blow did you hit him with? Because it looked like at the end of the day, he won. Talk to me.
Okay, that is a great point. What the only thing that does, Mario, is that showcases white privilege in America. Yes. White people, when white people come together and they say, hey, we want this done, and black people have been doing this for months and months and months, years and years and years, decades and decades, and we still have not gotten the justice we so deserve for so many things, that is just a clear representation and indication that white privilege exists in America. Period. No way around it. End of story.
So if you're going to, here's the thing. You ever heard of, if you're going to swing, you better make sure you connect with a motherfucker. You better make sure you connect. To me, the only thing that some black women did in this regard, when they said, you know what, we're going to hit back even harder. To me, you swung, but it wasn't a connection. You exposed your hand. You let America know that this is something that black women are willing to do. And at what cost? Because we showed that we wasn't united. The argument, here's the thing. The argument when presented, it was presented with a bunch of rhetoric that didn't matter. So they say. What was said was, we don't care about the Karen and the Becky that he liked. However, they used it as a part of the argument. When you use it as a part of the argument, you made the argument null and void, because now you're saying, okay, preference does matter. Versus just saying, no, we have an issue with him because he didn't support the black community. Versus saying, oh, let the Karen and Becky's handle it. Karen and Becky ain't got nothing to do with it. You're saying that black man has an obligation to the black community about things that he was not subjected to. So therefore, he did not speak about or did not have the same energy. So if you're going to say, we're going to stand together as black women and we're not going to support a man who does not speak out against police brutality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, don't use the narrative or don't include the narrative what Karen and Becky can do for them. Because like you just said, they did it. So what does that say?
It states that white privilege exists still in America. That's number one. Number two, when you say I love the little analogy that you made. When you hear motherfucker, it better land. I totally agree with that. However, you Mario, and I think a lot of black men, are looking at black women preserving their energy, choosing their battles, allowing themselves to say, you know what? I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to insult Jonathan Price. I'm also not going to honor and defend him. I'm going to be indifferent. That's not hitting. That's the equivalent of, have you heard in recent times, and I know I'm going to botch this up, but we've been in recent times really fighting for equality within the black community. And some of the non-black people, a lot of the white, extremists or supremacists, they feel as though if black people get equality, white privilege is so dominant in America that they feel like equality takes away from them. It means that now they're being offered less than what they should get. But that's not the case. You're not affected by it at all. Equality for us does not mean you receive less. But they don't for people that feel that way, it doesn't register to them. They feel as though they're now being attacked. They feel as though we're getting more than them, but we're not. We're getting equality. So I want to take that same analogy and let's put it to this Jonathan Price thing.
Okay.
Black women, they have not said, a lot of them have not come out and insulted him. Maybe a few have, there's always exceptions, but the majority of black women have literally preserved their energy. They've remained, at peace, and they've said, some of them have even stated, rest in peace, but that's all you're going to get from me. Black women have the right to pick and choose who they want to advocate for. They have the right to pick and choose if they want to extend any energy in this particular thing. They can say, you know what? I don't want to put any energy into that. And so when a person does not react at all, it's amazing how people consider that an insult, a disrespectful insult, and a reaction, a hit. How can indifference be a hit?
Well, you use the analogy in reference to when people hit back. So when the analogy is now pushed forward and saying, if you're going to hit, then first of all, hit with someone, hit someone that can hit back. He can't hit back. You see what I'm saying? And then based on the statements that were made, they're not statements that were made recently. So he could have changed his whole perspective. There are many people out here that make statements because they feel a certain type of way. It could have been a black girl that broke his heart, and now he went out, and this is his way of lashing out. We don't know, and that's why I held Cynthia G to such a standard and told her, hey, look, you're being irresponsible because the fact of the matter is you don't know, first of all, if these social media posts are true. That's one. Two, you're not talking to anyone that knew this man personally. Okay, so if you're going to project this stand out, stand by, stand down, all of this shit, cool, do that. That's your prerogative, your perspective. But the issue is when you start including the Karens and Beckys and saying, well, let them do it for you as if you're hurting him. One, can't nobody hurt him right now. That's one. And then two, you're showing black men that one, it's one thing to show black men, you know what, we're not tolerating certain things and we're going to band together. The issue that when you say you're going to band together, why do some women band together and it's always at the expense of someone else, of something else? Just band together. If you don't want to support people that don't support you, then hey, we don't support people that don't support us. You could have left it at that. But when you added the Karen and the Becky, you added his perspective or his preference into the conversation, then to me, you lost credibility. And the punch that you thought was going to be this hell of a haymaker, that shit was a jab. They took it on the chin and kept running with it.
Okay. Yeah, so, again, I think that the white people banding together and getting justice for him, again, that just means that white privilege is still prevalent. Because how can white people do the same exact thing black people have been doing, but actually get a result? Because of the system that we're in.
Was it white people or was it his community? Based on what the news has reported, his community band together and demanded justice. Nobody died, nobody looted anything, but his community did it, and they did it in such, first of all, record time, and second of all, they did it while people were telling. First of all, let me back up. In his community, he was somebody. So the people outside his community that's saying he wasn't this, everything the people that outside his community is saying, that's not coming from within his community. So my whole thing about it is, if I'm going to choose to fight somebody, I'm going to make sure that the fight is worthwhile. Was that a worthwhile swing? Because to me, if you're going to swing, like you said, you got to connect. So did you fight? Did you go against someone you can't beat?
I think that black women also, we have to factor in, if his community got him justice, which apparently they did, we don't need to be bothered with that because they got it under control, right? We don't need to go and try and reinvent the wheel, right? So if his community got him justice, why do we have to butt in? We need to be minding our own business because they got it. They done figured it out. Kudos to y'all.
See, here's the thing. When you talk right now, you talk as if, oh, they got it. But here's what's been happening, because it's not they got it. It's we not going to help him, so y'all do it. And now that they've done it, now it's like, okay, kudos to that community. The fact of the matter is, the energy that was put behind Jonathan Price should have never been put behind Jonathan Price. It should have been put towards VH1, and we should have made a hashtag for that and tackled that monster, because Jonathan Price can't change. Whatever was said about Jonathan Price, whatever was said on his social media post won't change. So the energy that's put in there to showcase that, look at us banding together and saying, we ain't going to support this man. It's like, at the end of the day, to me, honestly, and this is just having real conversation, real dialogue, that was some petty shit that didn't need to be done. You could have banned against goddamn R. Kelly. You could have banned against Bill Cosby. You could have banned against people who had the option to talk back.
I totally feel you, and I'm gonna get to the whole VH1 thing.
Okay.
So I ain't forgot about that. We gonna get there.
Okay.
But, I should have been writing this stuff down because so many things I wanted to touch on. Okay. Oh God, what was it that you said? Oh, I should have been writing this stuff down. Okay, you said you lost. You said you kind of lost respect for a lot of the black women saying, okay, well, they got it. And it's not really that they got it. It's more so they got justice, and now it's just like, okay, you guys had to get justice because we weren't going to get involved, type of a thing. And then you pointed out that a lot of the reason why a lot of them were not willing to get involved was because they didn't agree with his preferences in women, right? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, you there, you hitting it.
Okay. So now, again, let's look at preferences. Whatever your preference is, Mario, whatever the standard for your preference is, whether it's I like tall women, they gotta be thick, they gotta be at least 5'7", they gotta be brown skin, they gotta be this, they gotta have long hair, they gotta have 4C hair. Whatever your preference, whatever the standards, the characteristics, the attributes that make your preference be that, I cannot come in here and go and look at your list and say, okay, now that gotta go, that's good, that can say that gotta go, but all the other stuff, yeah, nah, they gotta go. Your preferences are your preferences. You make them up yourself, right? I can't tell you what standards and characteristics make up what you prefer. I gotta accept what you tell me and keep it moving and respect it, right? Same goes for the black women. We gotta allow the same energy and the same respect for black women. So if black women say, you know what, our preferences is we don't want to advocate for someone who does not prefer us. That's all right. Those are the standards that some black women have set. Nobody can come in here and tell them, well, no, y'all wrong, because we can't pick from the checklist what we like, what feels good to us, and what doesn't.
You know what's crazy about shit is that I have sisters. I have just good women in my life, and sometimes I call bullshit a lot. I call bullshit because my thing about it is black women thought that this man was not. First of all, they didn't think this man was going to get justice that fast. They thought by them saying we're not going to hold on. Wait, hold on. Let me do this shit. Let me do this shit. Write this shit down, Delicate Jewel. I don't believe that they thought this man was going to get justice that fast. I thought they felt that. I feel like they felt that if they make this big announcement and they say we're not supporting him, that was going to bring some notoriety to black women. And then this is a perfect opportunity to say what we discussed about, what we hate, et cetera, et cetera. The fact of the matter is, I hope it's a sister, a cousin, a mother, someone comes out and say, how dare black women come out on my son and say that he was X, Y, and Z. He didn't support the black community. He didn't care about X, Y, and Z because he liked white girls. I hope that someone comes out and tells these black women they were wrong, that you picked the wrong narrative when talking about Jonathan Blake, that you should have chose something that was a little bit more credible and a little bit more vital to the goddamn fight. Black women are fighting for a lot. Jonathan Price was not even on the chopping block. He should have never been on the chopping block. This man died being a hero. This man was a pillar in his community. Enough said. Enough said. His sister didn't come out. His cousin. No white people came out and said this man was racist. No black people in the community said he was racist. So therefore, there's nothing else to say. The issue is that it's a feel-good moment. And I'm going to be honest, for some people, it's a clout-chasing moment. And it's like, this is a perfect opportunity to show people, oh, well, you dating outside your race, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm telling you right now, I believe that people missed the mark by choosing this man as a martyr, because that's what you did. Choosing this man to say, oh, well, since you didn't support the black community or you had these great experiences and you ain't talking like us, we're going to choose you to focus our energy on. And I think that you missed the mark and you expose yourself really by doing that. I'm going to be honest with you. That rhetoric going across like with the Cynthia G's, etc. I think a lot of people they're turned off, like they're turned off by it, and it makes your argument null and void because you pick someone dead, basically to pick on. Talk to me.
Okay, so I agree with some stuff that you said in there, big baby. I sure do. I agree with some stuff, and I'm gonna tell you what I agree with, and I'm gonna tell you what I don't. So I think that you can't seem, and a lot of other black men too.
Okay.
I think that you guys are finding it very difficult to wrap your mind around the fact that a lot of black women were indifferent about him and the speed of the justice that he received. I don't think that a lot of black women really cared that he received justice so fast. I really believe that a lot of black women were indifferent about it. But because the black man is not used to black women not exerting any energy, not putting any energy into stuff like this, or putting any energy into black men that choose or prefer non-black women, black men don't really know how to recognize indifference. They look at it as, oh, y'all big man. And it's like, no, we really don't care. Now, I think that you guys are confusing black women speaking in general about being divested when it comes to a lot of black men who choose or prefer non-black women, right? The actual dialogue around that, don't confuse that with passion or care. That's just simple dialogue amongst black women. Right, you had spoke earlier with Mr. Ricky, I believe, Mr. Manor.
Shout out to Ricky.
You made a great point where you said with the Cynthia G, she has her niche, and I totally agree. When we look at a lot of these influencers, these YouTubers, people that have these huge followings, okay, people have their niche. If we look at college, right, when someone goes to college, you have your prerequisites. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. You're going to go through your prerequisites. You're going to go through your math, your sciences. You're going to get that out the way first. Mm-hmm. Those professors have a niche in the sciences or the mathematics or whatever the history. That's what they focus on. Later down the line is when that student gets into what their actual degree program is centered around. Right? So let's look at the Cynthia G's and some of these other people that you guys consider to be extreme, right? Now, I personally like Cynthia G. I think that Cynthia G speaks from a realistic aspect. I don't think it's necessarily negative, but the truth hurts. And I will say this, from a black woman, there is
y'all be killing me with that bullshit.
To be done. Hold on, little sugar. Hold on.
What the fucking truth hurt shit? I killed it. Go ahead.
But hear me out though. There is much work to be done within the black community with men and women. Like I stated earlier, it appears like the black man and the black woman are enemies, but that shouldn't be what we're driving and moving towards, right? Black women have a lot of work to do. We're not perfect. We are not perfect. There's much to be done. Black women have to hold themselves accountable in the same regard that black men have to also. Now, with that in mind, open dialogue between black men and black women should be what we first strive for so that we can, number one, get an understanding of the different issues, the different plights that we each face. And I think that if we realize that when we're going into this dialogue, this open dialogue, we need to have an understanding that this might hurt. I might say some things that's going to hurt you, Mario, and you as a black man might say some things that's going to hurt me. Because the truth can be extremely painful. And we're going to be basically getting naked on a spiritual, emotional, psychological level, something that most of us are not used to. We've never even experienced. And that's going to be painful. But if we can go in understanding that this is going to happen, we're going to experience this, it's going to hurt on both ends, we can get through it.
So
we can get through it.
So here's my thing, because this is every time I have a discussion with someone, you know, I notice that it's you know, based on their experience in life, based on their institutional knowledge, based on any relationships, you know, all of that is in a mixture of when people talk to me, how enlightened they are, how pro-black they are, all of that stuff, right? The Cynthia G piece to me, you know, especially when she talk about psychology, how, you know, a black man, the way they think, and, you know, just the whole chemistry of a black man. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, you know, I don't think it's truth that hurts. I don't think it's truth that hurts. I think that people use the word truth in the midst of being petty. I think it's in the midst of being vindictive. I think it's in the midst of not healing, not feeling like a victor or a survivor. So I feel like that's like for me to sit here and say, you know, these black women, you know, are ratchet and they loud and they disrespectful and da da da. And don't get mad because the truth hurts. The fact of the matter, it's not all black women. So when you disguise your conversation or you promote your niche as if it's all, because you never produce the sum, you never talk about the sum. That's my issue with Cynthia G. You portray it to be this philosophical, this intellectual conversation, and you make sure that you use the verbiage that people can say, oh, she's really smart, she's really intelligent, she must know what she's talking about. It must be this type of issue. But the fact of the matter is, it's never no women in the comments that say, well, make sure you remember to say it's not all black men. And I know, here's a list of 3 black men that I know for a fact that don't fit this narrative. And it's not just Cynthia G's. There's a lot of people out there that pander to that type of niche. I'm gonna pit this people against this people. But I feel like somebody, I believe it was, let me see if I can find it real quick, because the chat rooms, you know, they talking shit in the chat room. But
oh Lord, they talking bad about me. Oh my God.
No. Smart Class says, no, ma'am, you are responsible for your thoughts, which becomes word. I don't think that's the one I wanted to read. But what I think, I don't know if it's a man or a female. I believe that this hashtag that was presented for Jacob Blake, first of all, it was the hashtag that was used by the president of the United States. We know this, to denounce white supremacy. So then to take this hashtag and say, this is what we're going to use for this black dead man that like Karen and Becky, I just thought it was classless. Like I thought it was cheesy. Do I feel like black women have the right to be upset, the right to be concerned, the right to band together, to feel empowered, to be heard? You goddamn right. My baby's sleeping. I don't want to get too loud. You goddamn right. The fact of the matter is, I just feel like it was poor timing. I feel like everything that you can you imagine how powerful it would be if black women band together and said, you know what, we're mad, we're pissed off, hashtag stop the bullshit, and this is going straight to VH1. We're saying we're not supporting none of that bullshit that y'all playing to put us in a bad light. Do you realize the message that would send around the world? I was talking earlier when they had the fraternity and sorority thing on BET. And they were telling me how the older heads from the fraternity and sororities like, no, y'all not gonna be acting a fool on TV, and they canceled that goddamn show quick as fuck. Imagine if black women got behind something like that. And here's the thing: when you get behind something like that, you don't have to talk about who failed to do it. You don't have to talk. We're doing this because black men failed us. No, just do it.
I agree with that, Mario.
Just do it.
I totally agree with you on that. You hitting on some stuff with this, Sugar, but you know I gotta push back.
Push back. Give it to me. Let's go.
So, okay, okay, and I totally agree with you saying that a lot of people use the truth hurts as basically a scapegoat to just be mean and evil and toxic. I agree with that. Not everybody, but a lot of people, and I would go so far as to say majority do, right? But you stated earlier about the Cynthia G, which I think she's doing a great job. I look at her as a realist. I don't look at her as a negative person. I do want to say that people are at different points of their journey. So when you said earlier, when do we move forward? Okay, you said the Cynthia G, she has a YouTube channel where every day she's doing research on negative things about black men, and it does it not exhaust you? The thing is, everybody is at different points of their journey. So just because, and this is where I think the viewer is going to be on the viewer to really hold themselves accountable and to do a self-assessment of themselves to begin to move forward. I don't think that that's Cynthia G's responsibility necessarily. And here's what I mean by that. So, you know, we got the whole woke community, right? The conscious community, right?
Right.
People, right? So just say you had a conscious channel, right? And just say me and Miss Sunshine in the chat, just say I got woke, last year. I found your channel last year. Just because I found your channel last year does not mean that there aren't going to be people that come behind me that's going to need, your channel. And this goes back to those professors we were talking about earlier who do the prerequisites. Everybody has to go take certain classes. Just because I graduate in 2011, that doesn't mean that a class of 2020 ain't going to come and eventually graduate too. So with Cynthia G, I look at it like her channel is a foundation of, this is what a lot of black women are dealing with within the black community. A lot of black women, and it goes from black men to black men have been, it goes both ways. It's not just black women, but the black community as a whole. There's so much to be done, so much mending to be done, but for example, a lot of black women don't even realize their worth. A lot of them don't. A lot of them don't realize that they are of value. Because they didn't grow up in that reality. They think so lowly of themselves. So when they come across someone who maybe has a YouTube channel where they begin to show them, hey, look, you guys have been dealing with so-called Dusty.
No. Hurry up, little baby. Hurry up, little. Come on.
So people are at different points of their journey. So I feel like Cynthia G, just because you feel like, okay, it's enough. I don't watch you for a week now. I don't watch several of the videos you posted. It's enough. But there are people that are going to come behind you who are going to watch their material. Now, I will say this. I do agree with you when you say, when do we move forward? We do need to move forward. I don't think that if you're watching Cynthia G, if you've been watching her for a year, I don't necessarily think that you should still be watching her a year later. Because I think when you went there, you got some of the foundational understandings of like certain black male psychology, et cetera, and now you can move forward and you know how to combat certain things, and not in a negative, aggressive, toxic way, but more so in a way of, I know what I'm dealing with now. So when I see a narcissist, when I meet someone that's gaslighting or they're deflecting or they never take accountability, I know that this might be a narcissist that I'm dealing with. So you don't need to know that it's a narcissist that you're dealing with so you can grab your gun and shoot them. No, you need to know some of those red flags so that you can combat that, or you can you know what, I need to go into a totally different direction. So I do agree that we do need to move forward, but I don't think it's Cynthia G's responsibility to tell her audience that you need to move forward, because there's so many people coming in at different times. They're at different points in their journey. So this is where the viewer has to take accountability and say, you need to look at your spirit and say, okay, you know what, I've been consuming this type of these videos and this education for 2-3 years. You shouldn't still be doing that. You need to move on to a different, go find somebody who's maybe talking about problem solving. How do we actually mend the issues within the black community? Go to that channel now, 2 years later, or a year later, or 6 months later.
Are you ready for this smoke? Are you ready for this smoke?
Go ahead.
Are you ready for this? Go brush your teeth because this shit about to get dirty.
Okay.
You ready? Okay, I like you, Delicate Jewel, but you pissing me off.
Ooh, okay.
You pissing me off, and I'm gonna tell you why you pissing me off, lady.
Okay.
Here's happening. Okay, first of all, anytime you're a content creator, anytime you put out a certain type of energy, whether it's online or just in the atmosphere or face to face or whatever case may be, all right, you are responsible for what you do. Now, if you are someone that's consistent, i.e. you are a content creator or whatever case may be, and even though your niche is to point out some of the shortcomings of black men, we get it. We understand it. You get paid for it. You're making money. We get it. We understand it. However, there is a responsibility every single time that you send out an outline how bad a black man is. There is a responsibility to always remind the people that you say either you healing or you're helping or you're empowering, to tell people this is not all but some. And matter of fact, these are some of the good news stories. It is your responsibility to make sure that the rhetoric you put out, all right, is you package it up so that way either the beginning, the middle, or the end, or a collection of all three is positive. What is the message you're trying to send? If you're trying to send black women don't give up, we know that you've been hurt. We know that you've been disrespectful. We know that people have been inconsistent. However, to empower you, I want to remind you that this is just an experience. Don't let this experience ruin your outcome with black men. Anything else is uncivilized or an excuse. So when Cynthia G is making excuse after excuse, you say that people listening to her last year shouldn't be listening to her this year. My thing about it is you get caught in the trap. You get caught in the trap. You get caught listening to the same behavior, the same rhetoric. My thing about, if you're being abused, what do you tell someone that's being abused? To get out. To get help. I'm telling people right now, if you're sitting there, you're being mentally abused, you need to go and get help. You need to go and find balance, go and find worth. It is not, you shouldn't have to downplay someone else. Downplay black men, downplay black community, downplay black women to build yourself up, to empower yourself. If you're doing that, I can tell you that is an abusive nature, that is a victimization of other people, and it shouldn't be tolerated. That's how I feel.
So do you feel as though, and this is what I'm going to disagree with you on.
Okay, talk to me.
Do you feel as though all of Cynthia G, and this is an example, all of her content is negative, and at the end of the day, she never provides black women with some type of, I don't want to say way out, but a different alternative way of viewing things or a different way of dealing with things? You don't think she does that?
You want me to give you yes or no, or you want me to give you detail?
I want you to give me yes or no and details.
Okay. I'm going to say that I would be a goddamn idiot that to say, no, she never does that. What I'm telling you is that in order to provide consistency, okay, then if I watch 10 of your videos and none of them provide any balance, none of them provide any merit to say that, you know what, I want to remind everyone this is not all but some. And the some that I'm talking about, their behaviors act as X, Y, and Z. But here's the thing. I know lots of positive black men. So for me to get online and say black men are this, this, and this, and I never capitalize on saying, but I know positive ones. And here's some positive good news stories. I didn't have any positive good news stories from Cynthia G. And I took the time before I made a judgment about Cynthia G to take the time and listen to her video, skip some and go back months and to say, okay, well, let me get the narrative here. Okay, I think I got the narrative. It was today when I heard Cynthia G, and I think she watching my videos, to be honest with you. It was today when I heard Cynthia G say, I want you guys to stop sending me the bad stuff and start sending me good stuff about black men. I just said that, which is ironic. So I think my message is getting across. But the fact of the matter is, you have to provide balance. And she also talked about storing all that negative energy. She said, I don't want to mess up my energy, so y'all send me some positive stuff, which I also said that. Does it get daunting to always get negative stuff about black men? At some point in time, that plays into your psyche. At some point in time, you're like, everybody's bad that's black. You can't, that is not going to provide a healthy situation or a healthy conversation for no one. And it should never empower women to downplay black men and vice versa. And I just think that's the new come up. Downplay you and it's going to empower me. And that's how I feel about the Jonathan Price pick. We're going to call him out, but you're calling him out. Shit, you could call him out from the grave? Is he going to come back and say, oh, hell no? You talk to me. Talk to me.
Here's the thing.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yep.
Hello?
We're still here.
Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I think that Cynthia G doesn't necessarily highlight positive black men in the manner that you would like, or she doesn't end it in a manner that you would like in the detail or the degree of positivity that you would like, rather. But I do think that she does add some type of light to it. So for instance, for example, and I get you, you're saying, okay, it's not enough. I understand that. But we got to take baby steps though, right? So I don't think that we can discredit her and say that everything is just completely negative, because that's not true. Because if we look, just say, take an example, right? Just say, you know, she's doing a show about the amount of children, babies born out of wedlock, right? She can go down a list of things that, you know, have happened within the black community, why this is happening, what's going on now, and then she can maybe end it on a note of, ladies, be mindful, be very careful of who you give your wounds to. That's not necessarily saying that, there's great black men out there, but she doesn't necessarily have to say that. Her saying, be mindful of who you entertain, be mindful of who you give your wounds to, that's ending it on a positive note. Granted, it's not to the degree that you would like. You want her to just, oh, congratulations, let's get the banners out, let's get the bloomers. Like,
why is it
it'll get there.
Why is it when you ask for balance, people always like they go to the extreme when you ask for something different? I don't think that Cynthia G should do anything special for me. What I'm saying is, if my daughters happen to run across a Cynthia G, someone that has a channel, someone that feels that they have influence, I hope that they're responsible with their influence. And that's what I'm saying. If I'm on my channel and I talk about black women or I talk about black men, I have to provide balance. If you only provide one type of niche, okay, cool. My thing about it is, within that niche, you have to make sure to tell people, especially when you're talking about emotions and relationship and parenting. And that's what she talks about. My thing about it is, you have to make sure that you provide some type of leverage to say, listen, it might be bad. You might have experienced X, Y, and Z, but that's not everybody. And you have to give people an outlet, a sense of, don't keep them coming back for more negativity. Keep them coming back because this is empowering people to change not only a thought,
and we're moving forward.
And moving forward. Exactly. Don't just keep me stagnant and thinking about negativity. Push me forward. Make me want to graduate. You talked about school a lot, so make me want to graduate your class, Professor. Push me forward.
Right.
Okay.
Don't
talk to me.
I feel you, Maya. I feel you on that. But I will say this: even though you may not be able to see this, but I have seen growth with Cynthia G's channel, and I mean that coming from a standpoint of, I would say maybe in the more beginning stages, I think that a lot of people, especially a lot of black men, probably really looked at her content as negative and toxic, and a lot of them still do. However, now, in recent times, Cynthia G, from what I've noticed, has been adding some more different alternatives for black women, right? So now she's encouraging black women to, hey, open up your options for dating. Whereas before, that wasn't the case. Before, it was like, you gotta date black. Everybody should. If you're interracial dating, then something's wrong with you. You're self-hate. But now it's like, okay, you know what? There are some other options. And I'm not saying that she's necessarily saying there's no good black men, because she does say this. She does say, I've heard her say several times, I'm not talking about all black men. If this doesn't apply to you, then I'm not talking about you and you shouldn't be triggered. I've heard her say that several times. So, yeah, it's not like she's saying it's all. That's number one. And number two, she's now, and from what I've seen, she's presenting more alternatives to black women. Hey, black women, I know in the past that I've said, interracial dating is this bad, but I think we might want to consider opening up our options. And if this doesn't apply to you, black men, then I'm not talking about you. You shouldn't be triggered. You shouldn't be bothered. And she does have a point. Because I, as a black woman, there's so many YouTube channels out there literally dedicated to bashing black women. I'm talking about dragging them to the pits of hell. There's more YouTube channels dedicated to bashing black women than there are black women YouTube channels who bash black men.
Why do you think she attacks those black men who bash black women? Why is that not her goal and Jonathan Price was?
I think she does. I think she does, and I do know that she's gotten on panels and she's actually debated several of them. So I don't think Cynthia G is running from no smoke from nobody, because I've witnessed with my own two eyes and my own two ears her get on panels and debate people. I've seen that. So, of course, she probably can't debate everybody. She probably can't do that, but she does do that. But again, she has her niche. And don't get me wrong, Mario, I see what you're saying. I'm with you. I do think that we need to begin to move forward, right? We can focus on our niche and we can get whatever information we want to get out there as foundational, but we also need to practice moving forward more often. So I am totally with you on that one there. I am. I feel you.
No doubt. So this is what I'm gonna do. First of all, I appreciate both of my guests for coming on tonight. I really think that we've had some good dialogue, and I'm hoping that, again, this is not a shot towards Cynthia G or whatever. If she wants to, have a conversation with anybody, myself or anybody that was on the panel, feel free to reach out. And if you guys rock with Cynthia G, let her know, hey, Mario J said, come on through. So the fact of the matter is, I want to give Delicate Jewel just like a 2-minute, spiel about a wrap up of this situation. And then I'm going to give my 2-minute spiel and I'm going to let y'all go. I know it's late. A lot of people getting ready for Friday. So it's your mic. It's your mic, ma'am. You got it. It's your mic.
Okay, well, first and foremost, I just want to thank you, Mario, for inviting me on the show. I really appreciate your content, and I think you're doing a phenomenal job. If you guys have not done so already, go and subscribe to me, my YouTube channel, Delicate Jewel. You can follow me on IG, which is I'm_Crystal with Renee. Crystal is spelled with a C. Renee, Renee. Follow me on IG. I do follow back. And basically, just to kind of wrap up this conversation, I agree with a lot of points that Mario made. I do think that the biggest focus should be us moving forward. I do think that we as a black community need to focus on those things that matter within the community. And I'm sorry we didn't even get a chance to touch on the VH1 thing, but I am going to say this. Because on my channel, I've done quite a few videos where I actually touch on this type of topic. I touch on social media and how it's detrimental to the black woman, especially to the black community, period. And I think that as a whole, the black community needs to do a social media fast for at least 6 months to a year. And I think that in and of itself will help so much. It'll help change our psyche. It'll help us change how we view ourselves. Some of the insecurities that we have, we will no longer have those insecurities. So as a woman, as a black woman, if you feel like some of the pressures of, having to look a certain way or be a certain way, get a BBL, get liposuction, I highly encourage you to do a social media fast and be very cognizant of what you are allowing in your eye gaze and your ear gaze, because it does affect you, right? But all in all, I think that preference is something that we all need to revisit as a community, and I think that preference is something that is more detrimental than it is beneficial within the black community, because I think that with preferences, there's one extreme or the other. I don't think we're at that point where we can find that middle ground. So I think that maybe in the near future, we as the black community, we can come back and we can touch on preferences, and we can just begin to have open dialogue, honest, transparent, open dialogue. I'm all about growth. I'm all about moving forward. And I think that we all should be about that. And to wrap this up, to kind of end it, black men, if you're listening, the black woman is not your enemy. Black women, if you're listening, the black man is not your enemy. Okay? I don't know what you believe in. I believe in the God. I believe in a higher power. I believe that God created us for a reason. He had a reason for creating us, and I believe that when we find that balance, it will work out so beautifully. It'll be the most beautiful thing that we will ever see, that will ever be seen. So even though social media and society pushes this narrative that the black man and the black woman have to be at odds, I encourage you to not believe that. If you consume that, regurgitate that, and walk away from it. That's not the truth. We are not enemies. We're on the same team. We just have to learn how to communicate.
Good point.
And that's all I got. Thank you, Mario. I love y'all.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night, you guys. Bye-bye.
So what do y'all think about the people that I had on the panel tonight? Matter of fact, I don't even want to hear that. I want to hear y'all tell me in the comments or whatever case be. Let me give y'all my spiel, and I'm gonna get out of here or whatever. First of all, I really appreciate you guys rocking with me. I realize that it's late, but I really feel like some conversations need to be had, and I just don't want to give my perspective, and I want you to be able to hear my perspective when in conversing with other people's perspective. So again, to my guests, thank you for coming through. The wrap up of this conversation is simple. Know your worth. Know your worth. Be empowered because you love yourself, because you love your community, because you love your children. Find happiness. Empowerment is not putting down others. Empowerment is not pointing out everybody else's mistake. It's about doing self-reflection and evaluating what you need to do to move forward. People talk differently when they know their worth. They talk differently when they're happy on the inside and the smile reflects through. They talk differently. They move differently. They post different types of content. So find the balance in your life and don't just put a lot of things around your life that makes you feel that you have to think negative about another race, about another gender, about another person just based on their skin, where they live at, how they look. We need to calm down and slow down and continue to have the tough love conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Mario J. This is Tough Love. I'm hoping that you subscribe. Please leave your feedback and have a great night. It's almost Friday, so thank God it's Friday. I'm hoping to hear from you guys soon. Have a great night. Peace.